Good morning. I'm back again today with another book to read to you. Today's book is called The Elves and the Shoemaker, and it was based on a story by the Brothers Grimm and illustrated by Thea Kliros. The thing about this book is it mentions Christmas, and even though it's August in the middle of the pandemic, it really shouldn't matter because the story is taking place during Christmas time, but it's something that we can all do a little bit more at any time of the year, help each other. The Elves and the Shoemaker. Once upon a Christmas time, there lived a poor shoemaker. He worked very hard. Still, there wasn't enough money for a holiday turkey or presents for his family. The shoemaker had just enough leather to make one last pair of shoes, but it was getting late. "I will sew them in the morning," he said, leaving the pieces of leather on his workbench. When the shoemaker awoke, he was surprised to find the leather had been sewn into a pair of shoes. Bewildered, he picked up the shoes to examine their fine details. Just then, a gentleman strode into the shop. He bought the shoes, and for a fancy price, too. With the money he earned, the shoemaker bought food for his family and leather to make two more pairs of shoes. The shoemaker left the leather on his workbench, then joined his family for the nicest dinner they'd had in a long time. In the morning, the shoemaker couldn't believe his eyes. Two pairs of shoes sat on his workbench. He shouted with glee, "Unbelievable!" and placed the shoes in the window. By the end of the day, he had sold both pairs. Night after night, the shoemaker left leather on his workbench and awoke to find shoes in the morning. Soon his shelves were full. There were shoes with buckles, buttons, tassels, and bows. The little shop was busy day and night. The shoemaker's wife wondered, "Who has been making all these shoes?" Mighty pretty shoes. This is a kind of old-timey pair. This would be cool. I like that one. And maybe that black one over there. The shoemaker and his wife decided to find out. That night they hid in the workshop. At the stroke of midnight, two tiny men slipped under the door. Each carried a bag of tools. The elves worked all night. When the sun came up, they packed away their tools and disappeared beneath the door. "They've done so much for us," the shoemaker's wife cried. "We haven't done anything for them, and it's Christmas Eve." "They look so cold," the shoemaker replied, his voice full of sorrow. The shoemaker and his wife had an idea. He sewed two tiny suits of clothes. She made a plate of good things to eat. They brought the gifts to the workshop, hid, and waited. At midnight, the elves appeared. They saw the presents and jumped with joy. They put on their new clothes, ate the food, and danced around and around until the sun rose. Then they slipped under the door and were gone. The end. Wouldn't it be a nice world if we could all help each other just one person a day, one at a time? Maybe we could go out and pick up the laundry for your mom and bring it to her at the washing machine. Or maybe just be nice to your brother or sister. Let's think about it, okay? Have a good day.